pleasant good morning, a pleasant good Wednesday morning to one and all. Welcome to today's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome one and all. I hope you had a good night's rest, you students, and I hope you are prepared to sit in the class and to observe, to suck up all the information that you're going to get this morning. We have a lot to tell you, as is customary now. I think you know that. I think you know we have a lot to tell you, and we are not going to disappoint today. So welcome today, Wednesday, the midweek episode of Speaking Out is here. Today, Wednesday, the 2nd day of October. We are in October. As I saw, would say Pinktober. You know, October, I think, is the month, breast cancer or cancer awareness month. And therefore, I know that there are going to be lots of activities to commemorate this month that is designated cancer awareness. I think it's cancer awareness or breast cancer awareness. One of the two, what they call it Pinktober. I'm sure they're going to be the walk that is normally organized by the telephone company. I'm not sure what is the name now. But yeah. So we are in October. We have left September behind and we are in October. So welcome. As we're in October, I have to tell you know the old core members who are here tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow will be our anniversary, fourth intake. We joined the core on the 3rd of October 1969. All of we teenagers with the mother's milk in our eyes, our face. We joined that glorious organization. Yeah, so here we are, 2nd of October 2024. Welcome one and all. We scheduled the program and we went about what? We scheduled the program at exactly 7 o'clock this morning. And as soon as we scheduled, the students, many of them came into the schoolyard. As soon as that gate was open, they came into the schoolyard. And of course, once we went live, the classroom door was open. We have students already here by the hundreds. My colleague, Mr. Conway, is in the studio, ready to go, and he's going to join us in a short while. But remember, we always got to give praise and thanks. This is the day that the Lord has made. We must rejoice and be glad in it. We must give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. And yet again, we do so this morning. So welcome one and all. Welcome. As I've said, we have lots of students who are in the schoolyard. And then once we open the school door, they are piling in. But again, I have to remind you to give us the thumbs up because we have hundreds on, and the thumbs up are, less than 20. So you got to do your thing, man. You got to do your thing as we do our thing. So yes. And the format, Amar complained to me last evening. I showed his heart. He said, well, you got look at this roll call thing. Because the roll call thing take up some time. And maybe you'd have to consider doing away with the roll call. But I told him roll call is part of the format. We used to go for 1.5 hours, 90 minutes. But because of the roll call and the warming up, as we would say, we extended to almost 2 hours. We extended to 2 hours. So, yeah, we are doing that. And let me hear your views about this road call thing again. It came up, it has come up once again as to whether we should modify the roll call or whether we should get rid of it altogether. Well, I believe perhaps some form of modification might be worth it. Because when we have hundreds and hundreds of students in the schoolyard, to go through all the names and to read some of the comments, it does take some time. But let me hear your views. This is a very democratic process. And let me hear the views of the students, whether you feel that we should continue in this format or whether we should modify the roll call. Let me hear your views. I'm going to look at it a little later. So yes, we're going to do the roll call as is customary this morning. Then we're going to make some announcements, and then we're going to go straight into the many issues we have to discuss. I hope by now, those of you who looked at the notification for the program which was posted yesterday will be able to tell me what is a snitch visa. I asked the question, what is a snitch visa? So if you did your work, I would expect you to make some comments about that. But let's go. When we scheduled at 7, the first man in this morning, several persons came in at the same time, headed by Winston from California, then Peter, Derek, Ulrich from West Dem, Tessa from Florida, Diane, Wayne from the UK, Anthony, Baldet from Linden, and Magnell. All those persons came in at exactly 7 a.m. Today. Then at 7:01, we had Lucius Anthony, Pauline, Vibert, and this is Vibert Lawson, Floyd, Terrence Young from Canada, 9795, Rhonda, this is Rhonda Chance, Brian, Saul, Courtney Saul, Carlton, my squad mate, 9430, Brennan from Brooklyn. They all came in at 701. And then we have Anchor, Ron, Kenneth, and Kenneth is from Maryland, Evelyn, Sydney, Lennox Puran from Essequibo Coast, Leon from Brooklyn, Carl, Derek, and this is Derek Anthony, Joan from New Amsterdam, Kay, Winston from the UK, Aubrey from Canada, Pito from Queens, Earl, Bart, Pamela from West Dem, Dexter, Joseph, John, Francis Kit from Melanie, Clarence, Allison, Gary, Amanda, William from Barbados. Welcome, Bim in the house, Magnell. Then we had Malcolm, Roxanne, and this is Roxanne Lucky, Desiree from Georgia, Aileen, Isabella. Aileen, we got to talk some cricket later, girl. We got to talk some cricket with all the conspiracy theories that are floating around. Sandra is here, Sean, Bonita, Carlisle, Denise from Florida, Everett from Texas, Orin from the UK. Belated birthday wishes to you, Orin. I know you had your big one, the 60th yesterday, and I want to congratulate you belatedly. Derek is here. Then we have Hazel, Barbara, Colin from New Jersey, Ezzy, Princess Earl from Lamar Springs, Lynette from the UK, Sean from upstate New York, Patricia, African Queen, Jerry, Felicia, Steve, Vibert, and this is Vibert Smith. Then we have Kevin, Onika. Then it was George. He says his number was 68727. Raheem, Queenie from Brooklyn. Kerry is in GT. He's I'm thinking from Colin from Queens. Danny, Conor Marukman is here. Emerson. Then we have MH from Nevada, Reno, Nevada. Rayburn, Patricia from New Jersey. Then we have Nigel. After Nigel, we have Grace. Welcome. Raul, Wharton, Linda from France. Neville, Richard, Maureen, Daniel from Linden. Annette, Wenda from Texas supporting. Ulrich from Barbados, my squad mate, says not feeling too well. We wish you, we hope that you get well soon, squaddy. Jean, Edda, then we had Cecile, Dennis from Barbados, Melissa, Mary from Brooklyn, Delanio, Gavin from Maryland, Winston, and Winston is from, Winston Air, he says, is from West Point, U.S. Military Academy in New York. Welcome, my brother. Duan, Patricia, Conali, Colin, 8941 was his number. Ross Ricardo, Carl, 9414, my squad mate. E2 from Arizona. Then we had Arl, Ann, and then after Ann is Cord, Gordon. After Gordon, it was Smitty. Pastor Smith is in the house. Benjamin, then David, Richard, his number, he says, didn't say whether he was a police or not, but he have it here. He asked if he saw a movie. Tiffany, Anthony from Petersall on the East Bank, Grantley, Siobhan, Lance, Clive. Clive also had a birthday yesterday. Clive, you and Oren were born on the same day because both of you celebrated or you observed your 60th birth anniversary yesterday. Congratulations to you, countryman and friend. Henrik is here. After Henrik, he's from Brooklyn. Wayne, Trevor. Then we have Jacko from Georgia. Umi is here. Claude, 9342. John. Roy, welcome, Roy. I haven't seen you in a while. We spoke yesterday. We messaged yesterday. Good to see you. Marcia R. Crawford, he's from Texas. We have a lot of Texans in the house. Doreen, my squad mate from Canada. Lorraine. Janella, welcome. My countrywoman is here. The Angel is also here. Then we have Ovid 937. Original Black Man is in the house. Welcome. Norbert, Tessa, and this is Tessa Richards. Moses, Norbert, I think I called him before. Delan, Kurt, Abera 1111. Sharon from the UK. Darret, Rhonda, we have, then I'm still in the house. Terrence is here. Then we had Vibord, the man from East Bank. Karen is in the house. Aubrey, Aubrey is here. Who else? We have Marcus Chilo is in the house. Dion, Courtney, Mr. G. And Mr. G is reporting to class. He says, then we have Randolph Jr. 12538. Dennis is here in the house. Well, he said we exposing. Boo, Allison, Melville is in the house. Then Cedric, Monica, O'Neill, Michael. And Michael, condolences to you. Michael is saying that he is in Guyana on vacation because his grandson, his eldest grandson, died by accident recently. So he's in Guyana. Condolences to you. Tell you all the roads in Guyana are dangerous, dangerous. Then we have Dwayne, and it was Samora rather, Clifton from Paris. Then we have, I can't recall this person before, Carlton Whitfield. We talk about also exposing Sandrine. Sandrine was the last person in the schoolyard. And then when we went, when the school door was open, the first person was Lennox, then Edward. Edward is always there. Karen, Carlton, Popo, and Johnny, Lynette from Barbados, and the list goes on and on and on. So welcome, 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 one and all, welcome. So this is the roll call. I tried to go through it as quickly as possible. And then for the announcements, I have a sad announcement to make. As I was preparing a few minutes ago, I learned that this, the boxing coach, Terrence Poole, Medal of Service, this picture of Terrence is here. Terrence passed away this morning. That is what is being reported. He was the technical director of the Guyana Boxing Association. The report is that Terrence went for his usual morning jog this Wednesday morning. And at the end of that, he complained of feeling unwell and he had some difficulties breathing. He was rushed to the hospital and Terrence passed away. I knew Terrence very well. We went on a few Commonwealth Games together. He went as the national boxing coach. I went as the manager for the rifle shooting, manager and coach of the rifle shooting team. So we met, and whenever I see him in Guyana, we will hail up each other. So yeah, we got the sad news. Terrence, I think he was a former senior NCO in the Guyana Defense Force, but he was currently the technical director of the Guyana Boxing Association, and he has a national award, the Medal of Service. So to his relatives and friends and colleagues, I wish to express condolences to you all. So yes, so Terrence has passed. And then we have some birthdays. Well, birthday greeting today goes out to Errol Drakes, former police athlete. Errol was he and his brother, both of them were athletes in the police force. So today, Errol is observing a birth anniversary. And recently, belated birth anniversary anniversary greetings will go out to my squad mate, Bridget Wilcher. Bridget W363, she had a birth anniversary recently. I already told you all about Oren Baird and Clive Nesta. Both of them are on the program. Both of them are in the UK. Both of them celebrated their 60th birth anniversary yesterday. And we also had a recent birth anniversary of retired Deputy Superintendent Patrick Todd, old TSU man. Patrick had a birth anniversary recently. I want to express best wishes to all those who are celebrating today, all of those who celebrated recently. And let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're going to move on. CC, welcome, my brother.
Thank you. Good morning to all. Happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. My sympathy goes out to the relatives and family of Poole. I normally see him every morning. He passed by me exercising. It was shocking to learn of his death. And congratulations to all those persons who celebrated their birthdays recently.
You know, when you get these deaths, CC, like Poole suddenly as a good man. Good man. We don't want to question the work of the Lord. I would not do that. But you can't help observing good people just going like that. And you get some Jezebels and Jacobats and demons. They are wrong to make people's life miserable. And, as we have said before, maybe the good Lord has a plan for them. Well, we know he has a plan. Maybe he has a special plan for them. They got to stay and punish. Many of them have to stay around and have to punish. But Poole, good man, Recently, we had Miss Quaddy John Ames. We had Good Luck. You have so many good people who are just going their way, and you have some of them around the place making people's life miserable. That's easy.
Yeah. So true, so true.
Yeah, but let me move on. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, normally we just talk with little cricket, but there's so much to talk about with the cricket this morning that I'm not gonna just skim through it. We announced and we know that we have CPL. The final stage is in Guyana. They had a final group match, and then we had where Guyana barely struggled to maintain that number one position against the TKR. They had to make 108 or something like that to make sure they maintain the position, and they struggled to make it. And had it not been for two drop catches by the one man, they might have ended up somewhere at the bottom. Anyhow, that is what our cricket is played. Last night, we had the first eliminator. And I told you all the format for those of you who are not real familiar. You had the eliminator last night. So the eliminator was between the bottom two teams. That is Barbados Royal and Trinidad and Tobago Knight Riders. That's the eliminator, the first eliminator. Tonight, you're going to have the qualifier. So tonight is between Amazon Warriors and the St. Lucia Kings. Whoever win that game tonight will go straight through to the final on Sunday. The loser of tonight's game will play the winner of the game last night, which is Barbados Royal. So Trinidad batted first, and they got a little shaky start, but towards the end, they accelerated with Puran. He's in the best form of his life, and Russell, they're going. Then in the 19th over, the 20th over, 19.1 over, blackout. For Guyanese, you know what we're talking about. The lights went down. The three towers, there are 6 light towers in the stadium, Providence Stadium. 3 towers went down. And let me read what the thing is saying this morning, and we're going to analyze. We know statement analysis and all that. So we are going to read, I'm going to read what was posted this morning by news source, Gordon Mosley news source. And it is captioned, technical fault with underground cable, blame for stadium blackout during the CPL elimination match. So here what it says. Following an embarrassing power outage at the National Stadium, Providence, during an internationally televised CPL match on Tuesday night that paused the game for almost 2 hours, the Guyana Power and Light Company has made it clear that the stadium is powered by independent generating sets, and GPL technicians were only on standby to assist with any issue. In a late night joint statement, the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport and the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated, GPL, explained that 3 of the 6 floodlights at the National Stadium lost power during the cricket match. According to the statement, all CPL matches at the Providence Stadium are powered from independent generating sets located in the National Stadium and not by the GPL grid. The GPL said it has been on standby at all matches to render technical assistance to the stadium at all times. It was explained that when the floodlights went down, the GPL technical team on standby immediately began rendering assistance and restored power to 2 of the 3 floodlights on the same circuit. The joint statement said that the stadium technician staff and GPL worked assiduously to restore power to the 3rd floodlight, which had a technical fault with the underground cable feeding power to that floodlight. A substitute cable was installed to have the floodlight operational, and that was achieved just around 11 p.m. The Sports Ministry and GPL have now promised that additional technical assessment will be done immediately after the game to provide any recurrence. There were 2 similar incidents involving the same floodlights at the Providence Stadium recently. One of those incidents took place during the finals of a T10 tournament, and the other incident took place during a practice session of the Amazon Warrior cricket team. So they say it's technical problem. The lights went down. The lights went down. Then here, let me say this. This is a national embarrassment. A national embarrassment. This match was being televised all around the cricketing world and for the field. All around. People looking at this match. And then you get the thing cut down. 19.1 overs just completed. And then you add the failure. and for a long time, a long time. And of course, the theory. Let me say this before I go any further. They are saying, I think I know that statement, that stadium very well, because when it was being built in 2006 for the 2007 World Cup, I was part of the West Indies Security Directorate, and I was in charge of the security for that particular venue, Guyana. As you would say, I was the silver commander, and I spent a lot and lot of hours in the stadium. I thought that those the light towers, were independent. In other words, if you go there, you're going to see, I think, all of them, at least that is what I remember, are their own independent generator. Perhaps that is changed. But you know what struck me as strange? All the three lights went done together. And they say they are on the same circuit. And they were able to restore power just about 11 o'clock. But, well, before 11, two came on and one did not come on. So my question is, if they're in the same circuit and you restore to two, they went down, all three went down together, they restored to two. How come this third one did not come on at the same time? How come the third one did not? Because I would have thought, I'm no electrician, but I would have thought if you have a problem which caused all three lights to go down, then when you correct the problem, I would have thought, based on the fact that you said they're all in the same circuit, all would have come on together. But that was not so. Two came on, and then one wasn't on. And then, the next thing, let me tell you, I follow the thing very closely, because people were telling me, well, what's the thing? I said, no, they have a cutoff time. There is a cutoff time to all cricket matches, whether it's a T20 match, whether it's a test match, whether it's a one-day match. There is a cutoff time, a time beyond which the match cannot continue. I didn't know what time it was, but then it was posted to say that the cutoff time, based on when the game stopped, was 10:52. No, not 10:50. Cutoff wasn't 10:52. They say you have to resume at least 10:52. And if you resume at 10:52, then you are able, with the time remaining, to get 5 overs in, and 5 overs constitute a game in a T20 match. Now, in this tournament, all T20 tournaments, 5 over constitute a game. So when I see 10:22, I say 10:52, I say, well, Trinidad gone through, because the former two is that the fact that Trinidad qualified ahead of Barbados Royals, if there was no result, then the top team, which is Trinidad, would have gone through. But then I was surprised when I hear now that the new time, they're going to start at 11:01 p.m. 11:01. Sean said they were to be at 10:51, and then, well, 10:51 or 10:52, something like that. But I think I remember 10:52. I was following it on Cricket 4, and they said 10:52, and I said, all right. So when 10:52 came around, I said, well, the thing done. Then I learned that they're going to start at 11:01, and they're going to have 5 overs, and according to the doc, what Lewis Stern method, the chasing team, that is the Royals, would have to make 60 in 5 overs, and then they do the thing with the power play and all of that. People question even that, because they say normally in a T20 game, 5 bowlers, the minimum, you get maximum 4 overs per bowler. And some people say, well, then if it is 5 overs, one would have expected all the bowlers, only one bowler, 1 over per bowler, all this type of thing. But this morning I saw an interesting post by Andre Russell, who is a member of the Trinidad and Tobago Knight Riders. Let me put up the post. I managed to get it on a slide. Hear what it says. Let me read. You can read along. It says, I'm not the person to come on the internet and voice my opinion. But this year's CPL, I feel robbed. This light situation was, what are you saying there? Lights came on just before the cutoff time. Is also, and then 60 overs of 30 balls is also a big, you get the adjective there. And yes, Andre Russell said it. Right is right. But I guess it's just pure a gone. That is what Russell is saying. So we say that, in other words, he's insinuating that there was some kind of conspiracy. But it's an embarrassment to Guyana. It is an embarrassment to Guyana. The stadium, and I've seen other posts this morning to tell us that even though they said the light is being maintained by the stadium comes under that minister. Culture, Youth and Sport, Charles Ramsey Jr. And I saw a post this morning where people said, you have issue. Recently, they had some function at the culture center. People got to be fanning. And a lot of things. And this is a man who found it necessary recently to intervene in a parking dispute between the director or the administrator of the Borough School of Art and some look like somebody who's supporting the party. He found himself involved in that. But you have all of these massive issues at these cultural, at these venues under his portfolio. Stadium, cultural center, people talk about the sports hall and all of these places. They ain't got time to deal with that. But you can deal with an issue involving parking. Parking. And don't forget, as I said, this is such an embarrassment. This is news all over the world, cricketing world, as to how this match ended. And I feel that the Trinidadians have a right to be peeved. But Polly, I was listening carefully for how you're going to respond. I was listening carefully, but you responded very professionally. Because I recall the CPL final in 2024 in St. Kitts and Nevis. I recall that final very, very well. When you, Polly, was the captain of the Barbados team. They used to call him Trident then. And what happened? Trident batted first and made what was considered a very gettable score. And when the Warriors were replying, rain came down and Duckworth Lewis had to come into play as well. And when the Duckworth Lewis came into play, when the game resumed, they said that, look, the Warriors had to get 20-something runs from 13 or 14 balls or something like that. Everybody felt it was very gettable, right? But then the managers, the owners of the team, the Warrior team, they inserted themselves in the whole process. There was a big, big discussion with the umpires because they wanted the entire thing to play out. And the people said, no, we have the rules. The rules say we have to do the modification, and that is what we did. And by the time the whole meeting finished and so on, then they decided to resume. Paulie then pointed out to them that the cutoff time had passed, and therefore Barbados wasn't going to take the field. As far as he was concerned, the cutoff point passed, and Barbados Trident won the game on the Duckworth Lewis method. That is what the thing. So, they said karma is a bitch, I just remember this thing very, very well. Karma is a bitch. So Paulie was at the other end of the stick there last night. But, it's sad. It's sad to see what really transpired there. And, tonight, before I bring in Mr. Conway, before I bring in, the national embarrassment, and don't forget, not so long ago, you had the lights at the Chedi Jagan International Airport went down. Some storm went down. Planes had to be diverted and all this out in the couldn't land. Diverted. You had that. So something is wrong. Something is wrong. But for tonight's game, tonight is the eliminator. No, sorry, tonight is the qualifier. So therefore, whoever win the game tonight qualifies straight into the finals. And the loser will take on Barbados Friday night in the second eliminator. But I got a plan. I have a plan, students, to make sure that there is no power outage tonight. And look what is the plan, man. Look, I get a plan for them. Flambeau in the house, flambeau. I loan in them all my flambeau. I pull them out from all them garage and all them storage. So you can't get no light problem tonight. I pull out the flambeau them to make sure, and I lending them it free. I'm lending them it free, man. Flambeau in the house tonight. Let me bring you Mr. Conway, man. See, what say you, my brother?
It was a major disappointment, And then GPL do a shaggy. It wasn't me. they put out themselves. Say
Yeah.
it wasn't me. And then they had to talk about some underground cable. So maybe they had to spend 2 hours digging up cables and then putting in substitutes. And the thing is, that they had early warnings. It happened before. They had early warnings. But then when you look at it, who is in charge of the stadium and which ministry? We know the Minister of Youth and Sport, Ramsey. Perhaps there's an image he want to portray to the world, the image that he portray to the world that we can't do anything right, that we can't get proper lights, and if something goes wrong with the lights, we can't do nothing. We gotta take 2 hours, and then we gotta dig up cable and replace it. When we replace it, put in substitute cable. So we put substitute. The substitute mightn't last so long. The whole thing is a major embarrassment, and then that minister doesn't do anything right successfully. He get gongs, and I know about a whole lot of gongs are there 3/4 way, they get halfway. The one by my area in Lamar Park, about 3 years now. They spend millions and millions of dollars trying to get it right, and they turn back to a jungle. They turn back to a swamp. So I'm not surprised that that they couldn't rectify this situation, and I'm satisfied that the thing went out of one. You mentioned about the Cherry Jagan International Airport, yeah, all those things there, but perhaps it's one guy, one generator. So what do you expect gonna happen?
One guy and one generator, like the one man. Like I put them back with flambeau there, man. That put them back with flambeau. So I like how with flambeau they look. We say you gotta get kerosene, you gotta clean the shades, all that they gonna do. They got enough time before when they collect it from me this afternoon, they get enough time to make sure those things are in order. They gotta make sure. But let me say this. Let me say this. That ministry, as I said, right? We had the recent issue with Tom. Mr. Ivor Tom. And I noted that the Ethnic Relations Commission has indicated that they are going to investigate this matter. And some people were saying, well, look, from all indication, Mr. Tom don't know who the person was that used these racial remarks towards him and so on. But that is what the investigation is going to point out. Because remember, what was related to us is that following the altercation between Mr. Tom and this unknown person, a third person, a woman, they talk of some red SUV. The woman came in and she went on the phone and she called somebody. And shortly after she made this call, Tom received a call from, I think, is the administrator of the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, that he is required to see the minister in the boardroom immediately. Tom further related that as he was going, he got a second call from the permanent secretary of that minister, telling him the same thing. The minister wants to see him immediately. So as the investigators and the police will know, we get people on the Danny and Smithy and a whole set of, we get in jail and all them, but he will tell you, you got to start from Tom. He will tell you what transpired, and he will tell you who called him. And then you're going to go to the person who called him to find out how you come to call Mr. Tom. And then the person is going to tell you, or the persons, because you get two calls, who instructed them or who advised them or who informed them to call Mr. Tom. And then you're going to go to that person who informed them, how come you get to know about this matter? And right away, or the woman calling, who is the woman? Because I don't think, as I said, this is some ordinary Mary Jane or Dolari who could have picked up a phone and call somebody at the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport and get the minister to get involved in breakneck speed. So it ought not to be a very difficult investigation, right? And not to, and then you might very well have CCTV, or even if you get CCTV, it might tell you the car number, you got to do a lot of work. It might not be able to identify, and for you can recognize who the person that uses remarks were. You're not able to from the CCTV, but that will be a great aid. But the easiest way is to find out from the people who call Mr. Tom, how they come to call Tom, who instructed them to call Tom. And then they're going to tell you. Then you find out from that person how you know about this incident, who call you and tell you. Easy, your telephone call was made, you got phone records and all of these everything. So these things are not difficult to unravel, but the question is whether the will to unravel it is there. Whether the will to unravel it. So this is the same Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. This is the man, remember, let me show y'all again. I got to show y'all this thing, when he was in Parliament, and there was something with Rupert Rupnerine and the minister, and the minister started to quote Shakespeare on he quoted Shakespeare in Parliament. And listen to the quotation.
When sorrows come, they come not single spies, but in banty lions.
You word, banty lions. Everybody say banty lion, but the man, are you telling like on the man? The man did not say banty lion, the man said banty lions. And for those of you who don't know, check out the thing. Well, according to Shakespeare, now he said banty lions. But Shakespeare spoke about battalions, but he said banty lions. Or some people say batty lions and all of that. This is the man who in charge of the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. And I saw an editorial, I think, recently from, I think it was Stabrook News or something, saying the same thing, that apparently he forget that his portfolio involves culture. Not only sports, it involves culture as well. But you get a seemingly uncultured person to be involved in culture. What do you expect? What do you expect? Most, as we say, look, if you get incompetence at a senior level, one can expect it's going to filter down. One can expect that it's going to filter down. So this national embarrassment last night, let's see how they're going to try to spin it. They're done spinning already. Shaggy in the house, wasn't GPL. And I know because I was in charge of security of that stadium on numerous occasions. And I know there's always a GPL crew on standby to assist. And I know that, well, at least I thought I knew that those towers were independently powered. Yeah, if you go and you check it there, you see you get the generator at the bottom. The generator you turn on, and then you have to get you got to get information as to how long they will take to be fully lit and all of that, so that the match referee is aware of that and all of that. Even in test matches, because in the event the lights get bad and the plane condition allow for artificial light to be used, they want to know how long it will take for the light to be fully powered so that they can inform the people them to put on the light. So all of these things, but it's a major, major, major embarrassment to guidance. So all they do, and people say it, you read the thing, nice flowery thing. The president was there last night and he was being interviewed, and Guyana is the best place, and Guyana is this. And in the middle of that, right there and then, for over 2 hours, blackout, no light. And of course, as I said, Russell and Allen believe that this was no accident. It was no coincidence. Because Russell is saying 19.1 over. And then boop, the lights went. And then the thing came on. The light happened to come on just in time for them to get the 5 overs in. Just in time for 5 overs to get in, and for Barbados Royal with the glorious innings there by the Royal batsman to win the game. People say, some people, the conspiracy theorists are going to be in full swing. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to have his say on this national embarrassment. CC? Mr. Olabi, okay, he's right. So I'm saying it's a national embarrassment, big national embarrassment, and I hope they don't just the fact that you had recent problems should indicate that I'm not sure if the issue is fixed, but they should make sure that this thing is properly resolved, and somebody got to be made to answer when they don't know maintenance. People talk about not only the lights went down. People who pay millions and dollars to get hospitality suites got to be taken in portable air conditioner. People fanning in the place there. People talking about these things. People talk, the toilets are deplorable. The toilets in the stadium are deplorable, right? And so what? All right, the light went down. Let me say there's an accident. What happened to all the other issues? I know they changed the seats and all this other thing, but a stadium like that has to be properly managed and maintained. And the minister has to be ultimately responsible because he comes under his ministry. Let me see again, Mr. Conway. Cece, what are your views about this national embarrassment, my brother?
Yeah, um, it's sickening. And as you mentioned, the president was there, and I saw the toilets too. The most of the toilets not working. To use the words that this man used to use, Archie Ross, it is in shit order. Shit order. So a whole lot of things went wrong there, Paul. Went wrong there. Then perhaps no checks and balance, and perhaps people can get when they say the three C's. When you have command and control of situation, you'll have chaos, and maybe that's what went on there. No command and control, so there's total chaos.
You know, look, let me tell you about planning. As I said, I was part of the group that managed the stadium for the first game, the entire tournament, 2007 ICC World Cup, 50 over World Cup in Guyana. We went so far in the planning. Karan Singh was the man who was the local person in charge. You had one day what we call the royal flush. And the royal flush entailed all the toilets being flushed about the same time to see how the system is going to react to that. All the toilets in the stadium being flushed at the same time within close timing. We organized it because we wanted to check all the systems, lights and all of those type of things. You had a recent incident, the people saying where the Warriors were practicing at night and the lights went out. And you want to tell me they don't recognize that there's some problem there to make sure that you have a thorough check and you rectify that? Those things should have been every night. You check it day, you check it night, you do all sorts of things. The fact that they were independent power supply generator should have made it even easier. And I don't know. But I don't expect they're going to do much. I expect they're going to sweep down the carpet. And so if something were to happen again, let's put it down to bad luck or something like that. But let me move on. I saw a very disturbing report over the weekend. Very, very disturbing. This is where it is said a policeman was assaulted by a businessman at Monrepo on the east coast of Demara. A policeman assaulted by this man. And hear what the story says. A police constable attached to the Bedford Walkton police station was assaulted by a businessman on September the 27th, 2024 at around 1750 hours at Monrepo's East Coast, Demerara. It's alleged that the policeman was in a motor car driving on the Monrepo's access road proceeding east on the northern drive lane of the said road. While proceeding, a gray motor car driven by the businessman made a sudden stop in the center of the road, obstructing the flow of traffic. According to eyewitnesses, the businessman was conversing with an individual when he stopped his car in the center of the very narrow access road. As a result of this, the policeman pulled into the left side of the road and honked his horn several times so that the businessman could make way for him and others to pass. The businessman ignored the cop and others and continued his conversation with the individual. Subsequently, the businessman drove his vehicle alongside the policeman. He then dropped the left side of his window, and the officer asked him if he and everyone else had to wait on him, the businessman. The man then purportedly said to the officer, "You ain't see attacking to someone, you ain't see attacking to some effing body," and the cop said to him, "Wait, is me you're talking to so too?" The businessman then allegedly said to the cop, "Carry you, Guyanese special word." Guyanese special word. People say C, but Guyanese call him S. Carry you, S. The businessman then drove away, and the cop followed him. The accused stopped at the electronics store owned by him at Monrepo. The man then exited his vehicle, and the cop did the same. He was then confronted by the policeman, but the businessman continued to coerce the officer. The businessman was then told that he would be arrested for his behavior towards the cop. But the businessman went into the store and told the policeman that he would shoot him if he entered his premises. The constable went after the businessman and he began to run. He then tried to close in the door of his store to prevent the cop from entering his premises. He subsequently subsequently let go of the door, and the cop went behind him to arrest him. The businessman then slapped the cop on the left side of his face. The accused was subsequently arrested and taken to the police station, but he was later released from police custody without paying a bail. That is what is being reported. I mean, look, when you read these things, people eyes past the police. And I don't advocate violence, but I'm saying, I don't know, they didn't say whether the policeman was in uniform or not. But anybody who treats a policeman like this, first cussy up and so on, and when the policeman go for arrest, he slappy, he deserves to get slapped back. Let me say it clear. And yeah, I could say that advocating violence, whatever. You slapping a policeman because the man doing the work. You block the traffic. The first thing you block the traffic, you're talking to somebody. Policeman rebuke you. And you can then go and you cuss the man. You cuss this policeman. And when the policeman doing his job to arrest you, you're slappy. And to compound the matter, when he's taken to the police station, they're sending you away from bail just like that. I didn't even know if they charge you in relation to all these offenses that he would have committed. First of all, you get the traffic offense, obstructing the traffic. You get his behavior towards the police. You get the assault on the police, all of these type of things. And no wonder the policemen are so demoralized, because you get a statement from the hierarchy of the police force. This public the police, what they call it, public communication unit, the corporate communication unit, not a word from them in relation to this incident. Not a word from them in relation. Policeman gets slapped. Man is arrested, taken to the station, released, according to what the thing is saying, no bail. The ranks are there. They have no protection. They don't get no protection from the senior people, no encouragement. None at all. This warranted. Look, somebody told me this morning that nowadays, the old book would have been thrown at him. Not literally, meaning that all the charges or all the offenses that were revealed, he would have been charged for. And there's no way he would have been sent away without bail. No way. No way. And that is why, in many cases, you see the policemen respond violently to them. Because you on duty and a businessman, can slap you. This man can slap you, the police. I know a cough as against a slap. They say slap is a very humiliating thing, you know. He slapped the policeman, that's what they're reporting. And you're not hearing nothing any further. And I recall not so long ago, a man beat up a policeman in uniform somewhere on the East Bank embankment there, the railway embankment road in East Bank. Cough, blows on the policeman. Well, he was charged. I think he was remanded. You don't hear nothing more about that. Nothing. So when you have people treating the policemen like that, and there's no adequate response from the police I command, what do you expect? What you expect from the ranks? They're demoralized. They are demoralized. And then, as somebody said, investigate. You're going to find that this man who slapped the police is some friend, family, or favorite. And look out for the shifting focus. By that I mean, when you hear something from them, you're going to hear the policeman behave inappropriately towards this man. Listen out. Listen out. You're going to hear that the policeman behave inappropriately. And they're going to get OPR to investigate the police, not the businessman who slapped the police. Because for whatever reason, if you want to argue that the policeman behaved verbally abusive to the man, the fact that this businessman slappy is sufficient for you to make sure the businessman is dealt with appropriately. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. I'm mad about this thing, you know. I am mad because I could tell you a man who worked with me, policemen and women who worked with me will tell you that Diane happening under my command, Diane going like that under my command, where a man is sent away without bail and all and everything. He would have been kept in custody. Yes, CC. He would have been kept in custody straight to court. He would have been put on bail. He would have been kept in custody to appear in court at a particular time. Can't encourage that type of behavior. CC, what are your views?
Imagine a man not only slapping a policeman, you know, but a policeman in uniform. Slapping a policeman in uniform, and they had to carry the station and they send him away. No charge. They never put him on bail. Nothing at all. And then they appoint orders that he threatened to shoot the police. Is he a licensed firearm holder? And if he's a licensed firearm holder, you gotta seize his firearm. And not only that, even if he's not a licensed firearm holder, right? You need to execute a warrant at his premises and search a firearm. Perhaps he get firearm illegally. As you mentioned, you got to throw the whole book at him. The whole book at him, and then here is it that the man slap a police and actually like walk out of the station and they send you away. And nothing from the police high command, nothing from the commander, nothing from anybody. When they're really to support the police, they don't support the police, you know. That thing is ridiculous, and I'm crazy over it. I'm mad over it. A man is going to slap a policeman in uniform, and he committed the overbridge of traffic offenses and other offenses, threatened to shoot a police, and nothing happened to him. They just send him away without any bail or anything. Wow, this is ridiculous, man.
It is past ridiculous. It is more than ridiculous. And you know, they got a police association. You don't hear anything about them when these things occur. They are supposed to be looking into the welfare of junior ranks. You don't hear anything from them. Nothing at all. Policeman in uniform. I didn't know that he was in uniform. I didn't see any tape or anything. But you're saying that the man was in uniform. The man, first of all, abused him verbally with a lot of expletives and so on. And using those words in our book, in the law book again, it's still an offense. Still an offense. And then threaten this police and assault the police. And what happened? The man is subsequently taken to the station, they say, and is released without any bail. My Lord. And you wonder why the ranks are leaving or applying to leave en masse. Ranks are tending their resignation because they're not getting any support from the hierarchy of the force. They themselves are embroiled in all manner of corruption and all sorts of things. So they got time with the junior ranks. But again, I can say, you have people here on this live who worked with me, and they will tell you that when Paul Slow was a commander, that ain't going on like that. But I had to tell a man too that in our days, there was more respect for the police. So you might not even had a case where a businessman would have taught it, taking out the mind to say that he assaulted a police and he cussing up a police in uniform. But if that were to happen in our days, it's the old book you're throwing at you. All them charges, because I can see like about 6-7 charges. And Mr. Conway is right. If he is a licensed firearm holder, the fact that he threatened a policeman in uniform, there's sufficient grounds to cause him to show cause why this firearm license should not be revoked, even though he might have paid to get the license. Lodge the firearm, exercise the process, start the process. If it is that he was not a licensed firearm, Mr. Conway is perfectly correct. Get a warrant and search your house because you might very well get an unlicensed firearm because he's threatening the policeman to shoot you. So if he's not a licensed firearm holder, you got to check to see if he has a licensed firearm. And then name the name. They will name the name. Because if you name the name, then you might very well find that the Ethnic Relation Commission got to get involved because apparently they're waking up slowly to get involved. But that is the type of bypass you have. But let me tell you this again. Me, Paul Slow, nobody didn't slapping me and getting off like that. Even before he get to the station, he would have got to get back his slap. I didn't keep in that slap. Even before he get to the station, he would have got to get back his slap. And I make the point again, it is time that policemen are provided with less than lethal weapons. Because this is a matter for Constable Brown to get involved. You know the song? Love in there? Boy Blue? I am Constable Brown. They call me Boy Blue. I have here a warrant to arrest you. Babylon Boops, the song name. Right? This is time for Babylon Boops. A slapping policeman in uniform. It's not time for you to introduce the button to your jawbone. Time for the button to be introduced to his jawbone. And you answer a preaching violent. If you want to say that, that is up to them. But that should not be allowed to happen. He should have been made an example there and then. There and then, he should have been made an example. Let me move on. As we are talking about assault and so on. Over the weekend, Guyana is bad. Over the weekend, I saw several tapes circulating involving this guy known as the Guyanese critics or Guyanese critic. Let me play. I got two of the tapes to play to you. Remember last Monday when we were on the program, the news break about this matter, and I promised to show you the tape today. So I am sticking to my promise, and let me see if I could find the tape to show you what actually transpired. Now look at it, one little about 3.5 minutes. So sit back and watch what's going on. Those of you who have not seen this yet, here it goes.
Daddy, God, they're thinking about me. Dad, you're thinking about me? I love your son. I love your son. Court disrespect. Oh, you're fucking you. What's your name, son? Hey, my name. What's your right there? You done? Done. Okay. Protect left feet. Done. That's right. You done. Paul. That's right. Yeah, cool. Done. Bring on the vehicle. No, done. Shelly, bring on the vehicle. Bring the vehicle. Put in the fucking. Yo, done. Put in the trunk. Done. Dad. Pick up the phone. Y'all carry. Hey, let him go. Hey, get up. Drag his son. Drag when the people are where we go with. We go left feet. Drag his fucking. Hey, get. Protect him now. Yeah, get up. Protect left feet. Get up. Protect left feet. Left feet now, bossy. We good. Hey, protect. Good. Boy, get up. Good ball away. Hey, come back. What the carry right there? I know. Get up. The carry right down here, sir. I shall leave it. Wait. Hello, this is the police here. Right? Respect that. What's the situation here? Bust up me head. You bust up your head? Well, we gotta go to the station.
We're going to the station.
Right?
They
say you're going with me. In the process.
You're going with me.
In the process of me here to mix up.
Yeah. You're going with me.
Love.
Yo.
Do a video.
Release. We gotta go to the station.
Do a video.
Yeah, listen.
Oh, come this side. Hey. You get one invite. You get a set. Watch me. You get a set. In the process.
Yeah.
Officer. Turn on the confrontation. The goal. Turn on to my hand. Yeah, we got this goal. Easy better than the goalie. Who goal? This gentleman goal.
Alright, good.
Right?
This is this gentleman. Chain or you only this thing?
No, hold on. Hold on.
Let him have video.
Everybody video.
Wait.
Open
your eyes.
No, let me hand it over to you.
Alright.
Paul, video.
I got you.
I hand it over the goal to the officer.
No. Take it. Let me make sure it's what you giving me.
Don't worry.
This is one chain.
One chain. The street chain.
Two chain.
Three.
Three chain.
Protect. Street chain. Protect. Do the right thing or not.
This is the police.
I come into the station.
You go and carry him. Go in the vehicle and ask.
The police vehicle. Yeah, let me go now. Yo, brother. We can't allow you to claim that I am away from my vehicle. Yeah. Relax.
Paul, move the lamp closer.
Gotta keep recording, buddy.
Record, you both it.
I'm going to take out a picture of the lunch.
He's a victim, you slapped me first.
Let me show you all the second video. That's the first, and then we can make quick comments. Second video.
No, let me hand it over to you. Alright. Paul, video.
I got you.
I hand it over the goal to the officer.
Take it. Let me make sure it's what you giving me.
Don't worry.
This is one chain.
All right, this is the second video is basically the same thing. Now we tell you what is being reported here. The victim has a video, a long video where he had an interview with Travis Chase. He is saying that he went to the airport and he brought in some of his cousin or colleagues or something like that. They came in relation to cricket. This incident occurred Sunday night. They went to some bar, and while in the bar, right, they wanted him to drink a beer. He was reluctant at first, but then they bought a bucket of beer, he said. And then when he decided to drink a beer, but there was no opener, so he went to the barman to get an opener. And while he was coming back with the beer and the opener, he's alleging that this guy, known as Guyanese Critic, lashed him in the head with a gun. And they beat him. He said they beat him mercilessly. He was beaten by Critic mercilessly. Stamp and kick. They get photographs circulating with marks on his face and all this everything. The story is, according to what I'm gleaning from social media, Critic went into this bar and somebody lashed him in the head with a bottle. You can see he had blood and so on all over his face. It would appear that he believed or he assumed that it was this man who lashed him. So he turned on this man and they took out the anger. And the thing stemmed from the fact, according to what is being reported, that someone, Critic, was dancing with some woman in this place. And somebody went to take out a video. And he rebuked the person, say, oh, you're going to take out video without getting permission. And some altercation ensued with someone and this and Critic. So then he lashed this man who, from all indication, from what the man is saying, that he had no altercation with Critic. He was just an innocent person in this bar. Collect the beer, collect the opener, go in and Critic. The man say he lashed, he unconscious. He spent about 24 hours or so in hospital. Now, there are so many things when you look at this incident. See the policeman there receiving gold, a lot of blood and so on. He doesn't have any gloves or anything like that. Critic get firearm. Nobody took away the firearm from him. Again, is the training and the manner in which these matters are handled. Police intervene, yes, but once you intervene, you have to handle these matters in a professional way. The first thing, from the time you see the man get a firearm, he has to hand over the firearm. I tell you, oh, all right, it's all right. The policeman asked him for the sergeant asked him for the firearm, and he did not hand over the firearm. The story is, as I've said, I think the man said some station might have been Alberton, I'm not sure. They went to the victim, they went to the station, they took the victim to the hospital, went to the station, and he said they sent away Critic and so on. He had to go back. There is a victim had to go back to the station at some stage, and you don't know. But let me bring in Mr. Conway to make his comments, and then I'm going to have some other say on this matter. See, you saw this video. I'll show you what I've read the report. Yes. What are your views? And here we're talking about police action in matters like these. What are your views, my brother?
The first instance, I would ask, how in heaven's name they give Critic a firearm? A character like that, and you use him with a firearm, which is a deadly weapon. Well, going back to the story there. There is a police, I think it's a police sergeant there, and he tell him, Critic, but you got to clear the weapon. Not clear no weapon. You take away the weapon from Critics. You take away the weapon from Critics. Critics get injured. The other man get injured. They went to the police station. The first thing that you have to make a report, you carry them to the police station. You carry them to the hospital so that they can get medical treatment. And if Critic wasn't hospitalized or his injury wasn't of a serious nature, you keep him at the police station, and enough evidence there to charge you like a man with a gun. With a gun isn't designed to lash people in the face. He lashed a man with a gun. He should have by now been asked to state the reason why his firearm shouldn't be revoked. Why his firearm shouldn't be revoked. He should say why his firearm shouldn't be revoked. Now, under the police action, is I don't know what's the police. If they're afraid of Critic, take away Critic blasted gun. Take it away the scene. You have the authority, because the allegation is that he lashed a man and you saw injury on the man consistent with a lash. Yeah? And you tell him, boy, he must clear his gun. Take away the bloody gun from him. And I say, in my opinion, how in heaven's name you could give a person like I can't say a man, a person like critic. If I perhaps he must pay 1.5 and get if I but the police action is peaceful.
Yeah, you know, several things too. There are several other things to consider. This bar that they're talking about, how come people going into this bar with firearm? How come they don't have any security? You have a bar which is crowded and you're allowing people to go in there with firearm to be imbibing. People going into a bar with firearm to be imbibing. And as I've said, as Mr. Conway said, once this matter was reported there and the police, well, not reported, the police got involved to see what's going on. Station, how come Critic get this? The chain that he's handing over, or the chains, I understand, belong to the man. Because the man is claiming that Critic snatched the chain them from off his neck. But he, in the tape, you can hear him saying that he, during the source of some melee, 3 chains end up in his hand, and he's handing over the chain to the police and all that. This is poor police action. First of all, Sergeant, you need to make sure that you understand when you're dealing with things like would have body fluid, blood and all this stuff. You put them thing in your hand, Critic bleeding, and he get a chain in the hand, and he handing you where traces or even blood might be in the thing. No, you have got to protect yourself. People got to understand. Policemen have to protect yourself. If you're going to take possession of the chains like that, you got to make sure you get gloves. If you don't get gloves to protect yourself, don't accept no chain with blood or that is likely to get blood on it. And as you said, once I get to the station, first thing, RTN sees the firearm at the scene, which you should have done, not to take for clear the weapon. You got to take the firearm away from him, and you got to make sure that it is safe. When you get to the station, that firearm should have been lodged. He should have been made to produce a license if he has a license, and the firearm lodged, because the victim is saying that the weapon, that firearm was used to assault him. So that is exhibit right away. It's lodged. They are injured, so therefore hospital. The one man says that he spent about 24 hours in hospital, so he's there. Critic, who the man alleged assaulted him, he injured too. So you can't keep him in custody. You take him to the hospital as well to receive medical attention. If he is discharged, he's back to the station. And depending on the nature of the injuries, you might decide, all right, you don't want to keep an injured person in the police station, which is fine. But put him on bail. You got to put him on bail to come back at some particular time where you follow up on the investigation. In the meanwhile, that firearm is lodged at the police station. That is how a proper police investigation should have commenced in this matter. The gun lodged at the station, Critic on bail, and then you start to get statement. Because obviously there were several witnesses at the place. You investigate. Is there, are there CCTV cameras at the place? You do a proper investigation. All the time the firearm is at the station lodge. And when you satisfy yourself that Critic acted inappropriate, if indeed he did, then you show him that this is at the commander's level. You give a nice love letter, as I used to do, for him to show cause why the firearm license should not be revoked, having regards to XYZ, what he did, why the firearm license should not be revoked. And in the meanwhile, it is kept there. What can happen now? If they were to do that, you can receive a call. The sergeant or the commander get a call to tell them to give back the man the gun. And I know about that because you remember in 2003, God Judge called me when I was Commander Bobbies to tell me to give back the man the gun. I tell you, no gun and returning to the post like that when the investigation has not reached that stage. But somehow like these officers and balls, they don't have testicles, right? And that is the problem. Somebody can call. In the case that I refer to the thing, God Judge, the Minister of Affairs called me. The President, Jack Dio, got involved in the matter. I tell him, Commissioner at the time, Floyd McDonald, got involved. I said, no, I'm doing what is the correct thing. I mean, I get victimized and all that. I don't care. I am doing what is the correct thing. What is the correct thing? Them chopping get stones, Shiloh. Somebody that frightening that because Critic get close relationship, in our alleged, you see, with the president, he been Dubai with the vice president, and he been Dubai with the president and entourage. I think he been India and all that. He get connections. So because he get connections, they are afraid to deal with the matter in a professional way. And that is what erodes the confidence or further erodes the confidence in the police. Matters like that. Well, this happened until Sunday. And you know nothing more. I am not aware that the police corporate propaganda unit has issued any statement in relation to this matter and what the police are doing. The man interviewed, the man gave an interview to Travis Chase and say, man made it clear. Man said the critic beat him more seriously, stamp you up. And in the video, you could hear people telling critic, all right, left feet, which is circumstantial evidence that critic was in fact doing something to the man. Right? Circumstantial evidence. And the man said that he was beaten by critic. He lashed. The man got brand in the face, some Nautica, he looked like some Nautica belt or something, a lash. And for a brand like that to be left on the man's face, that had to be a vicious lash. Man beat man, so he got blackout out, so I think me lay down for 24 hours of keeping, I guess they kept him in the hospital for observation and all of that. That is not the way to do police work. And if you can't do the work, resign and go home. Of course, they're not accepting resignations. But it is a sad commentary on what is going on in Guyana with the police. Friends, family, and favorite, and therefore we gone straight into the animal farm where all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. And it's time like these, I just sometimes regret that I'm no longer at an age where I'm serving in the police force, because that shit did not mean like going down like that under my command. It ain't going down like that. As I've said again, a man is injured, so you should not keep an injured person in the lockup. I don't know the extent of the injury. You want to know you get some serious repercussion and then he croak for you in the station. You don't want that. But you're going to keep the firearm. You're going to send him on bail. Not necessarily cash because he's well known. He's well known. So you have to make sure he last cash. Let some recognizance to come back Monday morning or sometimes so that you can follow up on the investigation. But it is sad what is going on with these incidents. And this is not an isolated incident. We talk about the businessman who assaulted the police and threatened the police. Now you get critic who beat they say the man is a businessman from Bobby's, beat this man up, use the gun. All because critic is claiming somebody gave a zombie lash in the party, in this bar. Somebody gave him a zombie lash. He assumed that is this man, and therefore he took out his spite on this man. The man said he had nothing to be, I think the man was there with company, so get statements from them. And what happened? What happened? Now let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to give a closing on this matter, and then we're going to move on. You see anything more you want to say on this matter?
It's just that, the police continue to behave inappropriately. And matters related to firearm, as you mentioned, seize the firearm and do an investigation, and don't let nobody call you and tell you, hey, give back my firearm. Commanders got to get stoned, they got to get backbone. And they got to be able to say, look, this matter, as you deal with Godrich and the president, this matter is being investigated, and the time is not appropriate for the man to get back his firearm. As simple as that. That people has got to be formed and don't let politics run things. Because apparently like politics running things, and as long as people are politically affiliated, they could do anything. They could lash people with firearms. They could assault police. They could abuse people, and nothing is being done. The police has got to be formed, and maybe got a new breed of police, They got to go undergo what False Born used to say, an attitudinal metamorphosis.
Well, in addition to that, it comes along to training and support. It's a command issue. If you don't have the adequate or proper command, then it filters down. It's a command issue. This is a sergeant involved on the ground there. He intervened because of this melee. But this action left much to be desired. A sergeant of police. People got to be trained how to deal with these matters. And a man who gets to the rank of sergeant ought to have dealt with this matter in a better fashion, especially as it relates to that gun to tell him I clear the gun and all them. In a crowd where you have all these people, you're telling me clear, a man who bleeding and you don't know if he intoxicated, you tell him clear the gun. Next thing you know, his bottom, some thing and go off. You gotta seize the firearm. Command him to hand over the firearm to you. He tell you something with the firearm. I said, all right, get the firearm anyways. And the sergeant can't take the appropriate action. And then get ready. What happened to kicking it up, stop? Then get officers and so on there. You can call for more assistance and deal with this matter properly. We're in a sad state. And every week we come on this program, we pointing these things out. And what you do, they say you're attacking the force and you demoralize it. We are attacking the force. Because remember, we point out these things. We are telling you what should have been done so that you can, in the future, do the correct thing. That is the whole story. Now, let me go on to another matter. This is something I should have spoken about, or we should have spoken about since earlier in the last month. And I refer here to this matter that they're referring to as the election fraud case. You know, several persons are charged for fraud in relation to what took place immediately after the last election in 2020. Chief election officer, deputy chief, a lot of people get charged. Now, the matter has been running for some time, postponement and all of that. When the matter came up some time ago, the magistrate before whom the matter is got ill and went on sick leave. And when the matter was to be resumed, the magistrate got further sick leave, so the magistrate is not well enough to continue the matter, which is not unusual for people to get sick. The magistrate is sick. Now, following that, the Attorney General, Anil Nandlal, SC, MP, is reported, and I'm reading here from an article, orchestrated attempt to delay election fraud trial. Judiciary must act quickly, AG. This is September the 17th. I'm not sure. I think it must have been Kaichu Stabrook News. I'm not too sure. What it goes on to say, I will read it. Attorney General, Minister of Legal Affairs, Anil Nandlal, has described the delays in the election fraud trial as an orchestrated attempt. He expressed concern that another national election is approaching and, quote, we do not have a determination yet for fraud charges that arose out of the election 4 years ago, end of quote. The election fraud trial, which commenced on July 29 and was scheduled to end on September 13, has faced several delays. The last delay lasted for 30 days after the presiding magistrate proceeded on sick leave. The matter was scheduled to resume today, like the 17th of September, but it was again delayed as the magistrate remains on sick leave. It is now adjourned to October the 31st. During this program, Issues in the News, the Attorney General bemoaned the various delays in getting the trial started and now the current delays. Quote, finally, when we felt that the way was paved for the trial to begin and proceed with some level of alacrity, though delayed, we are now confronted with a series of adjournments, Nandlal said. He reminded of, quote, the way different magistrates have been shifting these cases. In my view, it is in a clear attempt not to air the cases, end of quote, and recall the intervention of the Director of Public Prosecutions to write to the Chancellor to assign a magistrate to allow an expeditious trial. Quote again, now we are where we are, end of quote. Nandlal expressed, noting that these cases are of grave public importance. Then he's quoted again in here saying, they are cases of national importance. The conduct of the persons who have been charged and who are before the courts struck at the very foundation of the democratic process of this country. That conduct attempted to alter the will of the people as expressed by their ballots. That conduct sought to derail the democratic elections of this country. It sought to have a different government in place instead of the one elected by the people. These are not ordinary run-of-the-mill cases. In any other democracy, the judiciary would have accorded the highest priority to the cases of this type. Unfortunately, in Guyana, that is not the position. End of quote. According to the Attorney General, quote again, the judiciary must act and act swiftly, act quickly to reprieve its credibility in this matter. End of quote. He added that every Guyanese should be concerned with the current state of affairs, noting that, quote, the duty lies with the judiciary to arrest the situation and to do so with every convenient speed, end of quote. The Attorney General also clarified that he was not attacking the judiciary. Quote, it is my duty and part of my portfolio to speak out on these matters, even if I have to make outspoken comments, end of quote. Quote again, I do so, however, respectfully, and I do so without attributing any ill or ulterior motives to the members of the judiciary, end of quote. And then I go on to tell you the personal charge and all that. Now, let me say this. Despite what the Attorney General is saying about delay, I find it objectionable, obnoxious that the Attorney General would say, the Attorney General of Guyana, hear what he says here, hear what he says. These are cases of national importance. The conduct of the persons who have been charged and who are before the courts struck at the very foundation of democracy of this country. So it's not an allegation based on his statement. He done conclude that these people are guilty as of charge. So there's no presumption of innocence here, because again, we say their conduct, the conduct of the persons who have been charged and who are before the court struck at the very foundation of the democratic process of this country. That conduct attempted to alter the will of the people as expressed by their ballots. The conduct sought to derail the democratic elections of this country. It sought to have different government in place instead of the one elected by the people. These are not ordinary run-of-the-mill cases. This man presuming, the man is so presumptuous, to use the word from the vice president, to tell us that these people who are accused of this matter, he's saying that their conduct duality. In other words, it's not no alleged conduct. There's no allegation. The Attorney General, saying that the people conduct is criminal, and that's what he's saying. And then they're attacking the magistrate. I see cartoon, all sort of thing with the magistrate. Disrespectful cartoon in Starbucks News with the magistrate who has fallen ill. A magistrate who's sick. They have no doctor. The magistrate is sick. She's on sick leave. And this is what they are doing. That is what they are doing. And let me say this further. It is not an isolated case. When Justice Sanil Kisoon ruled against in a matter which the government did not find favorable, Jack Dio, the vice president, said the judge presumptuous. When Gino Prasad, another High Court judge, ruled in a matter where the government didn't find favor, and in Landalal write a long thing, basically saying that Gino Prasad should go before the Judicial Service Commission. You have the accused rapist, Dharam Lal. Another matter when the appeal court ruled some years ago, he said there should be defrocked. And when Dharam Lal, an accused rapist, said people should be defrocked, you got to read carefully and think carefully what he's trying to say. You have all of these matters where they attack these people when they don't find the ruling doesn't go how they want it to go. And let me tell you all further, Anil Landalal, talking about delay, I remember very well when the Police Service Commission I chaired took the government, took the president and other people to court over the unlawful suspension of the constitution of the commission, which he did on the 16th of June, 2021. We took him to court on the matter. The president was named as the respondent. When the matter came up before Justice Gino Prasad, Nalal filed application to say that the president cannot be named as a respondent because he is protected by the Constitution. Long argument. The judge agreed and ordered that the president be struck from the rubric as an respondent. The same day that decision was handed down, as the judge was trying to set date for the matter to continue, Nandlal informed the judge that they had filed an application for the matter to be discontinued on the grounds that by that time, the life of the Police Service Commission ended. The Police Service Commission life ended on the 8th of August 2021. And because the life of the commission ended, the matter should be struck out. That was Nandalal's argument. Long delay again. Eventually, the judge ruled that notwithstanding the fact that the life of the commission ended, the matter was of sufficient public importance for it to continue. And what he's going to do, he's going to substitute Paul Slow in the place and stead of the Police Service Commission. So the action now became not the Police Service Commission versus these people, but was Paul Slow, me against these people. Right? Nandalal didn't like that. He took that to the full court. Delay again, delay. He took it to the full court. Full court upheld the decision of the judge. They made one alteration. They said there was no need to add Paul Slow as an applicant, in the place. Instead, he can be added as an applicant in his own right. And the full court did that. Nandalal, more delay. He ain't satisfied with that. He moved to have leave from the full court to appeal the matter to the appeal court of Guyana. And the full court denied him that leave. So go and let me deal the substantive matter. Went back to Justice Gino Prasad. They weren't satisfied with that. By which time you had a new service commission. They took on he was senior counsel, he was Queen's counsel, now he's King counsel. They took him on. They came and they do all sort of jiggery-pogery. They tried to discontinue the matter, claiming that the new commission had no interest in the matter, therefore they want the matter to be discontinued. And the judge said, all right, you can decide that you don't want to have the matter continue, but Paul Slow is an applicant, and you can't decide whether Paul Slow should continue the matter or not. So let me hear the matter. And they argue all sort of rubbish and all this stuff. They delay and delay and delay. Eventually, the judge ruled, I think it was March last year, when the judge handed down his ruling, saying that the president acted unlawfully, unconstitutionally, arbitrary, and the decision to suspend the Police Service Commission was null, void, and of no legal effect. That was the ruling. He delayed that thing for a long time. Because that action was filed in 2021. He do all kind of thing not to get the substantive matter or. And he talking about delay. He talking about delay. And then he claimed that he was not attacking the judiciary. That is what he did. That is exactly what he did. That is being disingenuous to say you're not attacking the judiciary when you speak. And then again we say you're not alleged defendant. So based on the statement from the Attorney General, these people are already guilty of these acts that they are accused of. So there's no presumption of innocence. There's no rule of law. He likes to talk about the rule of law. And you want to know where we are in this country and why we have all the issues we have in this country. He's a senior legal man in the government, and he is making statements like that. And don't forget, with the Teaching Service Commission matter, when the Justice Christine ruled, Nandalal and the Chief Education Officer put together some statement basically to tell the teachers, the ministry, to disregard the judge's direction. And when the Chief Education Officer, Saddam Hussein, was summoned before the judge, Nandalal said, well, yeah, he had a part to play in the drafting, but he did not see the final product. He did not see the final product. That is the people who come on this thing and talking all sorts of crap, but delaying the process. There is supposed to be what we call the separation of powers. I learned that when I do environments of management. Separation of power. The three branches of government. The executive, legislative, and the judicial branch. They're supposed to be independent of each other. And for a man on the legislative and executive, well, the legislative branch guy, he's a member of parliament and all that, to be publicly criticizing the judicial branch is unacceptable. I say so. That is my view. It is unacceptable to be attacking these people when the decision does not go in your favor. There's a process. If a ruling is made and you don't find favor with you, appeal. You can appeal all the way to the Caribbean Court of Justice, which is our apex court. But again, I say to go into this issues in the news program you get on a Tuesday night and make all sort of statement. It should be unacceptable and people should be talking out about it. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to have his say on this matter. PC, I know you're longing for a little bit, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, according to Nandalal, guilty as charged. But when the police they charge you for thieving in law books, and the magistrate rule that over the magistrate overrule is no case submission, he jumped to the High Court, he jumped to the court, and the court said, no, a prima facie case has been made out against you. And the court overruled him, and lo and behold, government change, and he got the politically inclined or politically controlled DPP to null post the matter. So where is the rule of law? Let people get a day in court. And then I remember with our case, when Carmichael Street called Suku and say, hey, charge Paslow and Conway and others so that we can get them off the Police Service Commission, give them a trump-up charge. Give them a trump-up charge. And was it? And then the DPP wrote one word, approve, when there's no case for us to answer. And the case finished at no case submission. 26 persons testified. I can't say they gave evidence. 26 persons from the police finance office, the various sections of the finance office, from the strategic unit, from SOKU, from the commissioner's office, commissioner confidential secretary give evidence, Brutus give evidence. They brought 2 people from Home Affairs and give evidence. I can't say evidence and testify. They brought somebody from the Ministry of Finance and testify. And the magistrate ruled that there wasn't a scintilla of evidence produced. People from SOKU go and testify. Now, the thing is that we were charged with 10 point something million dollars, and no evidence was left to show anyone was received $1. We were charged with conspiracy, and no evidence was left to see that we conspire. That is the rule of law he's talking about. And so many matters, as you mentioned, with the Police Service Commission, where he delay all the time, playing for time. Or maybe what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. That if you're charged, you're guilty as charged. But when other persons are charged, they have to give them the right to be heard and go in front of the magistrate and get the opportunity to cross-examine witness and make no case submission, etc., etc. So I ain't got worry with none. Analysis is like I call it like a Dutch axe, chopping both ways. When it's good for eating.
You said Dutch axe, I said blow, 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 pop, blow, blow. Now let me say this on this matter. Because Nigel concerned with the delay and what you said you wanted to make sure we get to the bottom of what transpired during this process with these people who were charged, as he's claiming that they tried to change the decision of the will of the people. Now, let me say this to them, Nandalal in particular. If you really wanted to know what transpired during the 2020 election, why did you fight tooth and nail to prevent the election petition from being heard? When the petition was filed, you go tooth and nail, you fight all over. That would have revealed what transpired. But obviously, you didn't want the truth. Obviously, you did not want to know, or the people to know what transpired in this matter. So to come now to cry crocodile tears that this matter has been delayed, and since 2020, a next election coming, and you can't get the result of that matter as yet, and all this thing you're crying. We want to know what happened with the law books matter too. People want to know what happened with the 19 fraud charge against the president too. Right? We want to know. People would have liked to know what happened. against Ashley Sington, against Brassington. People want to know what transpired. More recently, a policeman, Eastman, was charged with murder in the Saga case. And after spending about 5 years on remand, the DPP discontinued the proceedings. We understand he's reinstated in the force. We want to know what caused the DPP to change the thing. Those are matters of public interest that people would like to know what really play out there. We still want to know why Nandalal wasn't charged with the second rape matter, where they went against the Sexual Offences Act, Section 1 in particular, which state clearly that once a report of that nature is made, the police they must, that's what the law said. And I think you would have known of the law. They must investigate. And they get 3 months within which to institute a charge. And they said that if you institute a charge within 3 months, then the file must go to the DPP. Nobody can say yet whether this file went to the DPP and what the DPP directed in relation to the matter. These are matters of public interest, but you are very, very selective, Mr. AG, very selective, very, very selective. Now, let me move on to another matter. There's a matter that I wanted to bring to attention. I alluded to it a few programs ago, but I think it is of significant importance that I should talk about it a little now, and perhaps we're going to come back to it at some future date. And this is something that was published on the 19th of September this year. And I'm talking here about Adam Schiff, introduces the bipartisan Transnational Repression Reporting Act to track cases of foreign repression in the U.S. And hear what it says. And I want you people, especially those people who live in the diaspora, especially you, listen to what this act is saying. And this is Washington, D.C. This is today, the 19th of September. Representative Adam Schiff, he's a Democrat from California, introduced the bipartisan Transnational Repression Reporting Act of 2024, which would require the Attorney General, in coordination with other relevant federal agencies, to submit a report of cases of transnational repression against U.S. citizens or people in the United States. Schiff bill comes after the 2023 attempt assassination against prominent Sikh activist, Gurnapat Singh Pancha, can't pronounce the name properly. And then it quoted there as saying, with transnational repression on the rise, the American people deserve to know if foreign governments are working to intimidate, harass, harm, or kill individuals within the United States whom they view as hostile to their regimes, said Representative Schiff. He's quoted there as saying, my bill will require a comprehensive report of cases of foreign governments targeting individuals here at home and American citizens abroad. I will continue to work with my colleagues to safeguard fundamental rights and freedom, both domestically and around the world. End of quote. Transnational repression violates the fundamental rights to free speech and privacy granted to all individuals in the United States, including foreign citizens, U.S. residents, and naturalized and U.S.-born citizens. According to the FBI, the most common targets of transnational repression are political and human rights activists, dissidents, journalists, political opponents, and members of religious and ethnic minority groups. Method of transnational repression may include physical and digital stalking, harassment, computer hacking, criminal threats, assault, attempted kidnappings, coerced repatriation, coerced repatriation, and detaining family members in the home country. And then they go on. But the important thing about this bill that is passed, when it becomes law, according to my reading, the Attorney General of the United States will be required to report to Congress about these things. And I'm saying to you, and this is the point I want to make, that the only way I believe the Attorney General can report is that when you are a victim of either harassment, people threaten you, they intimidate you, armed to kill individuals within the United States, you have to make a report. You have to report these matters so that the authorities are aware of these things. If people threaten you, people trying to intimidate you or your family for whatever reasons, and you stay quiet, I don't think the Attorney General of the U.S. can know, and therefore he would not be in a position to report. So I urge you to make sure that you report these things. Remember not so long ago we reported here about this proposed amendment to the Cybercrime Act. Guyana proposed amendment to the Cybercrime Act, where it's basically attacking freedom of speech, because the reading of the thing is saying that if you post anything on social media that they determine to be critical of the government and all this type of thing, they can also to charge you with a cybercrime. And if somebody shared the post, that person who shared too can be liable according to the Guyana government. And if you comment adversely against the government, you too can be deemed to have broken the law. And the thing about this is that this is saying that if you're in the United States, where you enjoy freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of movement in the United States, if you were to do these things in the United States, the Guyana government can charge you with it. That is what it is being said, this new amendment to the Cybercrime Act. So, well, this bill by the U.S. Congressman Adam Schiff, where we're talking about the bipartisan transnational repression reporting act. This is an act, is a law to track cases of foreign repression in the United States. I know liar, but I believe many of the things that they want to put into this new Cybercrime Act will run foul of this U.S. new law. So folks, report. Now in the U.S., I get people here from Canada, people here from the around the Caribbean, people from Paris, people from the UK. Y'all report these things. Report these things and let the authorities kick in. It's a U.S. law. So obviously what you're saying that if these things occur against people who live in the U.S. or who are in the U.S., they can take action. What I'm saying to you, that in order for them to take action, you have got to report these things. You have got to report. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're going to move on, and time closing in on us already. CC, you want to make any comment on that bill?
Yeah, briefly, because the thing is that Landell, I think he introducing some bill that would give them worldwide power. Anybody who talk against the state, whether in America, Canada, or wherever you are, that the police could charge them. But like the bill that the United States put up there, that giving them protection, freedom of expression. And all is about freedom of expression, people expressing themselves, and here you're talking about cybercrime and cybercrime and cybercrime. So the law that allows in there will run counter to the U.S. law, and especially people who are U.S. citizens, people with dual citizenship, Guyanese across there. If you talk accounting and allow them, they could charge you under the Cybercrime Act. But this one here that the U.S. has going to introduce is a way of protecting people, and as you rightly mentioned, the people must report those instances. Report them and report them promptly.
Report promptly. Report to the authorities in the U.S. that threaten you, whether the threat is air or they threaten your family in Guyana and all this everything. Report, and let the federal do what they got to do. Now, I give you all the homework. I know if you all answer, I see all the comments here. About this snitch visa. I understand. As we say, a snitch visa is a visa where you might not be eligible under normal circumstances to get a visa. But if the U.S. authorities feel that you have information to provide, in other words, you're coming for kachar, coachor, snitch on somebody, they can grant you this S visa, this snitch visa, to travel to the U.S. and for provide the information that you have to provide. I understand that recently a man traveled to the U.S. under a snitch visa. under a snitch visa. He denying, but I saw tape where the person is alleged, or the person purporting to be this man, alleged to be walking somewhere in the US, and somebody called you out, and he turned back and he looked. But he claiming, I understand, and he showed that he and been to the States, he and snitch and nobody. But we got no, because my sources are telling me that once you get to this stage where people are granted visa for come and snitch, it's because indictments are likely to follow soon. Indictments, perhaps they have them already and they're sealed. Perhaps soon they will be unsealed. That is what is being rumored. That is what is being bandied about. That unsealed indictments are likely to be unsealed against a lot of people. And people biting. People biting because, well, remember, I want to remind you all, not so long ago, the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs, May Thomas Toussaint, had her phone seized by the U.S. federal authorities. Remember that? Had her phone seized by the U.S. federal authorities. Senior officer, Caesar, police force, passing through New York, was detained and questioned for hours. I understand his phone was seized as well. So when phones are seized, information is mined. You have other functionary, a man from the PSC passing through, pulling, as we said, pulling for fitness. And my information is a lot of other persons were pulled in and questioned at length by the federal authorities. You have the sanction against the Mohammeds, the businesses, and the same May Thomas. And the U.S. ambassador to Guyana said that this thing involved what? Is a long process, over 2 years, involving about 11 federal and state agencies. So a lot of information the feds would have. Don't forget Dr. Ram. I got to make sure, because the last time I called the wrong name. I said Mr. Datadim, and I got to apologize. I didn't mean Datadim. Dr. Ram, Barry Dr. Ram or Data Ram, how we pronounce it. Traveled to the U.S. Traveled a man who was wanted, hiding around the place, got warrant free, and suddenly jumped on a plane and came to the U.S., where he was promptly detained, spent some time, passed through court, and sentenced to time served. He was sentenced to time served. And here, what he had said, I'm going to play part of it. I'll play part. I don't like to quote these people. I want to give you all the things so you can hear exactly what listen to this. Say, this is 3 minutes. You're going to take long.
Businessman Barry Dataram, who is before the courts on a major drug trafficking charge, is clearing his mind through his throat in an exclusive interview with HGP Nightly News. Dataram wants the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit KANU investigated, alleging that the same KANU returns drugs seized from drug lords back on the streets.
Operation KANU, them is the most corrupted, rogue security force in this country. They're the biggest drug dealer this country have. The same drugs that they seize, half of it goes back in the street.
How you know this?
Because they sell it to my friends, them. And I got friends, and they know these things, you know what I mean? I know.
Dataram says he knows the operations of KANU inside out and is crying foul since he alleges that the very corrupt officers appear in court to offer evidence against persons charged for drug trafficking. He made reference to the recent cocaine bust at his Diamond home, alleging that proceeds from that bust are already back on the streets.
They put it back on the street. The same one where they find where they claim they're down there on the street already.
I sure about
30 or 40% upon the road. Yeah. And now this is the same people them going and testify against me in court.
Dataram, though, is not running from the fact that he too deals with cocaine.
Authorities have long accused you of being a drug lord.
Yeah.
Are you a drug lord?
Yeah, I do drugs. I won't say that. I won't say a lie. I never been convicted or nothing.
They've never caught you with anything, really?
No. But I know what's going on with the streets. I know what's going on with KANU. Them is my enemy. And I got to know what is going on with, just like how they got things on me. Just like that, I got things on them too. And all these things I keep on safe.
Guyana and the United States in December of 2015 agreed that anti-narcotics agents would undergo lie detection tests and other advanced screening methods over the next 5 years, now that the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, has established a permanent presence in Guyana. During the tenure of former President Barra Jagdeo, some Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit employees had failed their polygraph tests, and it was Mr. Jagdeo who was quoted as saying that his government would have terminated their services, and added that his administration had been prepared for any ensuing legal battle. Some of those officers are still on the job.
They got to do this, the testing, what they do, the lie detector test, they got to run it back on them. They gotta investigate these people.
Dataram says he challenges any Kanu official to take him up on the allegations leveled, since according to Dataram, the evidence is deep. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
You see, that is why he told Travis Chase in Guyana. Can you imagine? I get a strong suspicion he might even repeat the same allegation to the U.S. authorities and call name. He would have called names. And that is why he was sentenced to time served. So people body got to be biting. People body got to be biting, and then they come in and they're jumping around. They're coming after slow and so on. And you know this lie detector test that Barry Dataram talk about? During the past administration, lie detector of polygraph test was administered to several officers, including some who are still police officers I'm referring to, including some who are very, very senior. And it is said that they failed. Some of the questions that they could not answer honestly, including if they ever benefited from the drug trade or any drug man. And so on. They couldn't answer that honestly, and they failed the test. Many of them in ensconced in positions there now. So what are we talking? And again, let me remind you, a couple of weeks ago, the big drug raid in Region 1, 4,400 kilograms of cocaine, value over 200 million US dollars, found buried in bunkers in Region 1. And what happened? Not a single police was involved in that operation. The DA were involved, the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit involved, the Special Forces of the GDF involved. Not a single police involved. And then there was an article in the newspaper to say, in Kaisho News to be exact, to say that the police, a senior police officer was fingered in that. That's the word I use. He was fingered in that. And we learned shortly thereafter, the commander of Region 1, Senior Superintendent Imant Shah, was transferred from that division. Put 1 and 1 together. And don't get 11. When they put 1 and 1 together, Rastaman, I say kilograms is tons, nah? I can't, that kilo, thank you for the correction. 4.4 tons of cocaine or something like that. Sorry, corrections, my brother. And police not involved in and they say it's the largest land cocaine find in Guyana's history. Police are involved in the operation. And you want to tell me them Bati ain't got to be biting? The Bati ain't got to be biting? Having regards to what Dataram said, and all the other things, phone seized, and all of them type of thing. And man snitching, man got the ES visa, in and out. I understand people going loco, going crazy over the fact. I recall when Dataram traveled from Guyana to the US, a certain senior law enforcement man went berserk when he learned that Dataram has left. And he wanted to know why they allowed him to leave. They should have held on to him at the airport and prevented him from leaving and all that. The man went ballistics. He went berserk. Or as the old police would say, he went burskew. He went berserk. When they're here, things are happening. And again, before I bring in Mr. Conway, let me remind you, time catch up on we already. Comrades in the US in particular, in Guyana, they're intimidating you. They're intimidating you. They're intimidating your family. They're trying to silence you from speaking and all that. If you're in the US, report to the authorities. Report to the authorities so that the US government, the federal agencies can take action in this, what they call it, the transnational repression. And remember, according to the article, this is a bipartisan act, meaning both Republicans and Democrats agree to this thing. Both. It's a bipartisan act. So I urge, make you report to the federal authorities. Once they try to harass you, they're intimidating you. Even when they publish the nonsense, accusing you of things that you know they're being malicious, because they got a network, several news items and so on, trying to malign and bully people. Report these things. Report these things. Let me bring Mr. Conway to make his closing remarks. Yeah, CC.
You know, let me summarize things here. You know. Dark clouds are hovering police headquarters. And they're not rain clouds, you know. There are clouds of corruption, financial irregularities, incompetence, fraud, disunity, gun run-ins, and others. And some have broken away, heading as far as Region 1, Borimo, Winey, where they made landfall 4.4 tons of cocaine. The DA and Kanu conducted an operation where Ben said they had a hand dog pits. And the Region 1 commander was fingered. And what they do? With breakneck speed, they give him Thomas. They move it from Region 1, put him in charge of the police workshop, where he took over from a cadet officer. And a cadet officer is not really a cadet. He's not really an officer. He's an officer training to become a cadet. So that's where we take over from. And then even at the police mountain branch, they had another cadet officer there. So you have cadet officer persons training to become officers are in charge of departments. That is the police succession planning. And what they didn't do, you know, what happened to the ranks at Matthews Ridge? Not one of them removed or pulling for fitness. And then you have the officer at Port Kaichumo. And Port Kaichumo is the headquarters for the subdivision. You have Port Kaichumo, you have Arakaka, you have Matthews Ridge, and another location there. And not one of them pull in. And I understand the officer at Port Kaichumo is the brother-in-law of a very senior government officials. And they say, don't touch it, don't move it. I'm not saying that he was involved in the cocaine, but he's there and over 4 tons. And if he that I mean it's a great neglect of duty, dereliction of duty. So they walk in this thing, you know, conveniently. Some are untouchables. Some are untouchables. There's it. Not one body from Matthews Ridge or Arakako or Port Kaichumo. And Matthews Ridge is about 2 hours traveling from Port Kaichumo. Nothing with the officer there, because it is a rumor that he's a brother-in-law of a very senior government official, a top officials of the government. So how could they solve crime? How they could bring situation to normal?
Right, my brother. Right. Thank you for that. One of the students telling me I may have mistakenly said, when I talk about rape, I said the AG. Not AG. AG is never, as far as I know, accused of rape. Dharamlal. So let me correct that. I know that it's so quick. So if I did say that the Attorney General accused another, I meant Minister Dharamlal is the person. So apologies to the Attorney General. He was charged with thief in lab books, not rape. But you know, people ask, oh, Brutus. We can deal with Brutus because you know we can't hear what has happened to Brutus and the allegation of money laundering and all of those things. You can't hear anything further. But again, time catch up with you this morning. And folks, as I've said, you have got to be safe. Be safe. Tonight when you go into the cricket, those of you going, we get flambeau, the lanterns, to make sure that we ain't get that debacle there again with the light, right? We ain't get that again. We get lantern, we can send and make sure the light up the stage of and so on. So be careful, stay safe, and what we're gonna do is that, God's willing, I'm not sure, I tell you all, subscribe to the channel. I tell you all over and over, subscribe to the channel. I know many people, when I run the comments and I run the thing, I know many of you on this program here right now, regulars, have not subscribed to the channel on YouTube. I can see it. Many of you have not followed the channel or liked the page on Facebook. So when we decide to come to bring an issue or we issue some release, you can't know unless somebody tell you. What we say, once you subscribe and you hit the notification button, you are going to get the notification. You're going to get the notification. Somebody asked me where I get them lantern from. They're in my garage, man. They're in my garage. Emergency lighting system. They were there. So, folks, stay well. Stay well. Go and subscribe to the channel. I don't know. We are scheduled to be here again on Monday. But I tell you, things are happening so quickly in Guyana. Who knows? Maybe we will come before. God's willing, we will see you again when we see you. In the meanwhile, take care. Be well. Bye.